Elemental Magic of the Aloe. 191. The aloe is a plant of great esoteric powers. 192. The elementals of this plant resemble newborn children. 193. These elemental children are true Adamites, filled with innocent beauty. 194. This plant multiplies its leaves, pulpy leaves, without the necessity of the element earth or the element water. 195. I have often seen an aloe hanging upon a wall, without solar light and without water, inside of a room. The plant miraculously continues to live, reproducing its leaves and multiplying itself. How does it live? Upon what does it feed? What does it do in order to support itself? 197. Clairvoyant investigations have given us the logical conclusion that this plant lives and feeds itself with the ultra-sensitive rays of the sun. 198. This plant nourishes itself from the cosmic Christ, from the Christic rays of the sun. 199. The crystals of this plant become liquid sun, Christ in substance, Christonic semen. 200. The elementals of these plants have power over everything. We can utilize these elemental creatures of nature for any type of work of white magic by means of its elemental magic. 201. Before taking the plant, water must be sprinkled upon it in order to baptize it. 202. The plant must then be blessed, and the following Gnostic prayer must be recited. 203. I believe in the Sun, the cosmic Christos, the powerful astral mediator who links our physical personality with the supreme immanence of the solar Father. 204. A piece of silver must be hung upon the plant. 205. The plant must then be hung on the wall of our home. This is in order for the splendor of the Christic light, which the plant attracts from the sun, to illuminate and bathe the environment of our house, filling us with light and luck. 206. We can order the elemental of the aloe to execute the magical work that we desire by means of willpower. Thus the elemental will immediately obey. 207. Indubitably, the orders must be given to the elemental daily in order to command it to work. 208. The solar powers of this creature are tremendous. Nevertheless, whosoever intends to utilize the elemental creatures of nature for evil purposes will obtain a horrible karma and will be severely punished by the law. 209. The elementals of the aloe are intimately related with the laws of reincarnation. 210. The elemental department of the aloe is intimately related with the cosmic forces that take charge of regulating human reincarnation. 211. Just as the aloe can be pulled out of the earth in order to be hung upon the wall, in other words, its environment can be changed and it continues to live. Just as well, the human being can also be pulled out of the earth and his environment changed in order to continue to live. This is the law of reincarnation. 212. We can even prove this law physically. There is an insect called the cicada in the tropical forests. It is a kind of hemipterous insect of a yellow-green color. The cicada produces a shrilling and monotonous singing noise in the heat of the summer by means of a particular organ that the male possesses in the inferior part of the abdomen. In Colombia, the people give the common name of chichara to this insect. There is a common belief among these people that when singing, this small animal bursts and dies. However, the reality is different. What happens is that this animal abandons its chitin, organic substance that constitutes the skeleton of jointed animals. The insect makes an opening in its dorsal thorax region and leaves through there revested with a new body, full of life. This tiny animal is immortal. It incessantly reincarnates itself in life. The master Viracocha states the following about the aloe in his book entitled Sacred Plants, page 137, Argentinian edition, 1947. The travelers who go to the east will see a crocodile skin and an aloe plant above the doors in the Turkish houses. They say that both guarantee long life. If this symbol is very carefully examined, then we find that it represents reincarnation. The Egyptian Book of the Dead textually states that I am the sacred crocodile Sebek. I am the flame of 3 wicks, and my wicks are immortal. I enter the region of Shechem. I enter the region of the flames that have defeated my adversaries. The sacred crocodile Sebek symbolizes the innermost. Therefore, if we place the aloe next to the crocodile, then we will have the innermost with his 3 wicks, which symbolizes the divine triad reincarnating itself incessantly in order to reach perfection. For some people, reincarnation is a belief. For others, it is a theory. For many, it is a superstition, etc. But for those who remember their past lives, reincarnation is a fact. I personally remember all my past lives, as naturally as I remember the hour in which I sit for lunch or dinner. All the wise people of the world could come to me and tell me that I am mistaken, but I would simply laugh at them and look at them with compassion. For how could I forget that which I remember? Reincarnation for me is a fact. I knew the dawn of life upon the earth, and I have been on this planet since the polar epoch. I witnessed the departure from Eden, and I can assure you that the causa causorum of the loss of the inner powers of the human race was fornication. The tribes of Lemuria lived on ranches. The soldiers of the tribes lived in their quarters. The weapons of the soldiers were arrows and lances. Only one entire tribe lived on a gigantic ranch. Sexual relations were performed only on the huge patios of the temples at certain times of the year, under the orders of the angels. However, the Lucifers awakened the thirst of passion within us, and we surrendered ourselves to fornication on these ranches. I assisted in the departure from Eden. I witnessed the departure from paradise. This is why I testify all that I have seen and heard. I still remember how when we fornicated, we were cast out of the White Lodge. When we ate the forbidden fruit, the great hierophants of major mysteries cast us from the patios of the temples. Since that time, all the human beings have rolled through millions of births and deaths, as numerous as the sands of the sea. The plan of the angels was that as soon as the human being acquired a brain and a throat to speak, man and woman would then stop having sexual intercourse. This was the plan of the angels, but the Lucifers ruined this plan. The human being then sank into the abyss. A Savior was sent for humanity, but truly it is sad to say that this human evolution has failed. A very small group of souls will reincarnate in the luminous age of Aquarius. I know the pseudo-theoretical spiritual devotees of the world very well, and with anticipation I know that they will laugh at my affirmation and believe that I am ignorant. poor people. I know all their theories by memory. I know all their libraries, and I can ascertain that a large part of the spiritual devotees of these societies, classrooms, orders, etc., walk on the black path. It seems incredible, but we find truly luminous souls among humble peasants and simple people who have never devoured theories or sepulchral food. These souls are millions of times more evolved than those sanctimonious ones who smile sweetly in the auditorium of all the parrot cages of the most established and profane schools of spiritualism. 257. The angels that direct the law of reincarnation are intimately related with this elemental department of the Aloe. The mantra of this elemental is the vowel 259. The correct pronunciation of this vowel is made with the lips closed. 260. This sound is similar to the bellow of an ox. 261. However, I do not want to say that you have to imitate the ox. 262. When the sound is articulated, it should be done with closed lips. Then the sound will leave through the nose. 263. Every human being can remember his past lives by means of a retrospective exercise. 264. You can perform the retrospective exercise daily in order to meticulously remember all the incidents that occurred the previous day and to inversely remember all the events that occurred 8 days before, 15 days, 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, etc., until precisely remembering all the events of the first years of our childhood. During the retrospective exercise, when the student reaches the first 3 or 4 years of his childhood, then it is very difficult for him to remember the events of the first years of childhood. However, when the student reaches this point, he should then practice the exercise during the transition between vigil and sleep. Then, in visions during his dreams, he will meticulously remember all the details of his childhood, because when dreaming, we are in contact with the subconsciousness, where all our memories are stored. When we take advantage of the state of transition between vigil and sleep, this procedure of internal retrospection can be prolonged until we remember the instances that preceded the death of our past physical body and the last painful scenes. While continuing the retrospective exercise, we continue to remember our entire past reincarnation and all the past reincarnations that preceded it. This exercise of profound, internal, and delicate retrospection permits us to remember all our past lives.